Have you clearly heard the words in the audio but still missed the answer? That's because IELTS rarely repeats the exact information from the question. In this video, you learn how paraphrasing works in IELTS listening and how to recognize the answers even when it sounds completely different. Hi, my name is April Ampong, and I am an instructor at IELTS Review Center, an international standard IELTS training system that helps learners progress from beginner level to band 7 to 9 in the most time-efficient way. In the previous video, we learned how to predict answers before listening. Prediction prepares your brain, but paraphrasing is what helps you actually catch the answer. What is paraphrasing? Paraphrasing means expressing the same idea using different words. In the IELTS examination, paraphrasing is used all the time, especially in listening and reading. Examiners don't repeat the exact words from the questions. They change them. Why? Because IELTS is not testing word matching. It's testing real understanding. So if you only listen for keywords, you will miss many correct answers. Instead, listen for meaning. Different words, same idea. That skill alone can make a difference in your IELTS score. So in the IELTS listening, paraphrasing usually appears in 3 ways. First, synonyms. For example, cheap becomes affordable. Second, word form changes. Decide becomes make a decision. Third, rephrase ideas. Open from Monday to Friday becomes closed on weekends. The meaning is the same, but the words are different. So if you train your ear to recognize these changes, you'll catch answers even when the words don't match. So let's look at an example. Let's say the question says the library opens at 9 a.m. But in the audio, you hear we start welcoming visitors first thing in the morning at 9. The meaning is the same, but the word open is never used. And if you wait for the exact word open, you may miss the correct answer. This is why in IELTS listening, you must listen for meaning and not exact words. So how do we train paraphrasing skills? To handle paraphrasing skills effectively, you need to change how you listen. First, focus on meaning and not individual words. In the exam, the speaker rarely uses the exact words you see in the question. And if you wait for the same vocabulary, you will often miss the answer. Second, always expect the answer to sound different. So this is not a trick. It's how IELTS works. When you expect paraphrasing, your brain stays alert and flexible instead of confused. Third, train your ear to recognize reworded information. This includes synonyms, changes in word form, and completely rephrased ideas. The more exposure you have to these patterns, the easier they become to recognize in real time. Good listeners don't panic when they hear word changes. They don't stop listening or think I missed it. They stay calm and continue listening for the idea. Remember, IELTS listening is not about perfect English. It's about understanding meaning while the audio is moving forward. So if you train yourself to listen for ideas instead of exact words, paraphrasing becomes an advantage and not a problem. At IELTS Review Center, we don't tell students just to listen harder. We teach them how to listen strategically. First, student learns how to underline keywords in questions. This helps them identify the core idea and not just individual words. Next, they predict possible paraphrases. Before the audio starts, they think, how could this idea be said in a different way? Then during the recording, they listen for ideas, not vocabulary. So they don't panic. So if the word changes, they stay focused on meaning. This is simple, but a powerful approach, dramatically reducing careless mistakes, especially mistakes caused by waiting for exact words. When students understand paraphrasing, IELTS listening becomes clearer, calmer, and far more manageable. Now you can predict answers and recognize paraphrases. But there's one more major reason candidates lose points: spelling numbers, and grammar errors. In the next video, we'll focus on spelling and number traps in the IELTS listening and how to avoid them. So see you in the next video.